Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Joining me now is our chief of the fire department, Joe Pulvermacher. Joe, thanks for coming in. I know it was a late night, early morning scenario. Same here on the other side, so both of the eyes looking a little red today. Although you got some shut eye, I heard.
Yeah, well, I was able to get home and put a good solid hour and a half of sleep in. Yeah, so I'm well rested, ready to go. One more day
I'm ready to
here in
go
the city
home
of
now.
Fitchburg.
It's just another day. We'll turn our attention to the structure fire in the town of Dunn this morning. It started off as the case that a caller saw something, called it, but we didn't necessarily know the location. And we were the first ones to get. Is that how it kind of went down? Did we get paged out and as a starting unit, and then
Right, initially we thought it was a Fitchburg fire. The way that it came in, it was just off of and Schroeder. So that's our coverage area. So the city of Fitchburg's fire response was initiated. Uh, as we got closer to the scene, we realized that this was Oregon Fire and EMS districts. This was their jurisdiction. So we didn't really compromise the response at all. Everybody remained en route as if it was our fire. At that point, it would just created more confusion for everybody, and safety would have been a factor. So we just kept everything moving with the initial dispatch, and then Oregon took over the fire once they arrived on scene.
yeah, you're seeing some of that footage here. A lot of fire departments coming out for this one. And I think this is a great opportunity to talk about the mutual aid component because really, why we have a fire district, we're really part of the word I'm looking for, a group that can work together no matter the boundaries.
Yeah, we have a lot of agreements written. I mean, if the city of Fitchburg were to staff its fire department for all hazards, we'd have a lot of people. In order to fight fire, you need personnel. Uh, the fire departments have notoriously been very good about mutual aid. I do think that we need to stay on top of things to cover our initial response because response times are very important. But all in all, staffing a fire and making sure you have enough people to rotate through the different positions is essential. What happened yesterday is upon arrival, we knew that we had a non hydranted area and we needed to move some significant water. I mean, what we had on fire was a pole barn, and the contents inside were flammable. At this point, I think it's safe to say. I mean, it's visible from the road. There were about 5 school buses inside of that garage, and it required quite a bit of water movement in order to extinguish that fire.
Yeah, the shuttling of water as it was. Why are we bringing departments? How does that work? So we've talked about what pulling the boxes. I think from your guys' standpoint, saying that term, but bringing in resources scattered out. Why does it work that way? So you saw in the video there, you saw New Glarus, and you're like, well, we're at New Glarus.
Yeah, so what you try to do is you try not to overtax any one region. So if we were to pull all of the resources from this area and then we'd get a second incident, it would impact our ability to respond immediately. So what you do is you try to staff as many resources as you can locally and regionally, but then you reach out beyond that, so you're not overtaxing any one department with their resources. The idea is to be able to support the active situation, but not eliminate the potential of a response in any other district or any other municipality.
When you set up the porta tanks on site there and you're drawing water from it, what's that process for somebody who doesn't know what's going on there? I actually got to hear from the fire.
Yeah.
I was like, how does this hose go to here to here to here? And got a little explanation on that.
Yeah, so we set up a drafting situation. Basically, what happens is you drop a couple of tanks. Each tank has anywhere from 2 to 3,000 gallons of water. That's the capacity. You put a transfer tube in between each. It basically allows you to equalize the levels between the two tanks. It allows you to dump into one tank and basically draw from the other. It also allows us to be able to dump multiple units at one time if we're flowing that much water. So what we had on scene is the capability of basically having upwards to, we had about 10 tenders on scene, which carries a bare minimum of 2,000 gallons. So, anywhere from 20 to 40,000 gallons of water we had available to fight that fire, and you will use that much water. And then what you have to do is you have to establish your fill site, the loop, because the loop, it all contributes to the amount of gallons that you're able to flow per minute.
Yeah, the loop was a little bit extensive too, between where they could fill up and make the turn around. And when you set that up, from my understanding, I'm not the professional you are, but it's to get in and as safe and quick as possible and get out, and keep that chain moving.
Yeah, you try to minimize backing. With backing, there's the potential for accidents and injury. So what we try to do is establish a continuous single direction loop that allowed us to not only fill but then dump and then continue that cycle. It was predictable, and that's the easiest way that I can explain that is the fact that it was predictable.
Yeah, well, either way, I saw the thank you come out from Oregon Fire this morning to all the municipalities that came out and helped out, and that's, again, you guys are such a tight-knit group when it comes to public safety, and I always like seeing those little notes there on the thank you. Any other comments from this morning?
No, I think that's a good observation. We work well together. The municipalities know that we rely on each other, and in order to get these types of jobs accomplished, these fires extinguished, we need each other. So we try to work beyond the emergency, but we're very fortunate to have good neighbors, and we're very fortunate to be able to help out in this situation.
All right, Joe, get some rest and cheers.
Yeah, I do not endorse any one brand. I just know I needed some this morning.
I'm going to go the same route there. All right, Joe Pulvermacher here, Chief of Fitchburg Fire Rescue. All right, we'll take a quick break. You are watching Talking Fitchburg.